Well, hello there, everybody. This is Ricky from the Two Birds and a Third Football Podcast, and today, in this short discussion, I'm going to be discussing Dak Prescott and why I think he's not going to endure a sophomore slump. Now, I believe Hank talked about Carson Wentz and how he's not going to give him a pass if he does not do well in his upcoming season. And in this specific segment, I'm going to be discussing why I think Dak Prescott is going to be okay. Now, I'm not here to say Dak is better than Carson Wentz or whatever. That's not the main focal point of this. But the point I'm trying to make is that for those that are claiming that Dak Prescott is going to endure a sophomore slump, well, my whole thing is that it depends on what you define as a sophomore slump, and I'm not trying to twist, anything. I believe him having a sophomore slump would have him having to throw like 20 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. Have a very bad touchdown to interception ratio, as well as his play on the field. Now, Dak Prescott had a phenomenal rookie year, and considering the fact that he led the Cowboys to a 13-3 record with all of the things he had at his disposal is phenomenal. I mean, if you look at in 2015, I mean, the Cowboys had multiple forms of weaponry that were available to the backup quarterbacks, and they weren't able to perform as well as Dak Prescott managed to. So this argument that the line, now I'm not saying the line has no impact, because it absolutely does. You also have to keep in mind that you need the right quarterback in order to operate the offense behind that line, as well as use the weapons and other things. Now, I understand that, I'm not expecting Dak Prescott to have this insane touchdown to interception ratio like he did in 2016. However, I'm not expecting him to endure this sophomore slump that many people are trying to make it seem that he is going to have. I mean, I'm not saying, nothing's guaranteed in the NFL, but to be fair, I mean, with the weapons that he has available to him on offense, the only thing that's holding Dak Prescott back from leading the Cowboys to a Super Bowl is the defense. And considering that the Cowboys have retooled their defense, I mean, it's just a matter of how they're going to play and how long it takes for them to develop into some form of a decent defense. And looking at what Dak Prescott has on the offense, for the most part, the offense is relatively intact with the receivers. The running back cores, again, still intact. And while the offensive line has been shuffled, a lot of people also need to realize is that you have three All-Pros on the line: Tyron Smith, the tackle, Travis Frederick, the center, and Zach Martin, the right guard. But even though you have those All-Pros, you got to keep in mind that the left guard and right tackle, pretty much all you need to do is have someone just stand in there, and they can do a fine job. Now, I'm not saying that Ronald Leary is a scrub by any means. He actually filled the position of left guard quite nicely, but to be fair, he wasn't like revolutionary, and I believe Ronald Leary is a product of the Cowboys offensive line, of the other, the three I just mentioned, the other three All-Pros, being so well and being able to help others on the line. Now, with La'el Collins moving over to right tackle, I think that he's going to do pretty well there, considering that was his natural position at LSU. And he also was doing pretty well at left guard, so worst case scenario, if Jonathan Cooper doesn't turn out, hey, worst case scenario, they have to move La'el back to left guard, or they'll get someone else. Now, I think Dak's going to be fine. I don't think the offensive line, provided no injury, and of course this is going under the constant assumption that no one is injured, I believe Dak Prescott will be perfectly fine. I think he'll be able to put up decent numbers and able to lead the Cowboys to, a 10-6 or 11-5 record. Now, I am not saying the Cowboys are going 13-3. I believe the division got a lot tougher, considering the New York Giants have relatively kept their core together, as well as made some improvements, in some form of or another. But that's not the point of this segment. The point of this is, again, Dak Prescott's not going to endure a sophomore slump. And, I don't understand what's with people all of a sudden beginning to question his leadership abilities because of the whole auto pen situation. It's like when people like Colin Cowherd are beginning to flip flop on what they think about Dak Prescott. The first minute at first he thought at first Colin Cowherd doubted Dak Prescott. Then he actually had a conversation with Dak Prescott saying that he was wrong doubting him. And then now all of a sudden he says he's not a leader and the Cowboys are going to miss Tony Romo. Let me tell you something. When it comes to the whole situation with Romo retiring, Romo did his part, and he did not get the job done and, trying to win the Cowboys a Super Bowl. Well, it's, tough luck, but guess what? It's time to move on. Dak Prescott's the guy to go forward with, and if they want to keep talking about Tony Romo and how the Cowboys are going to miss Tony Romo, okay, whatever. But the point is that, again, Dak Prescott's going to be fine. He's not going to miss Tony Romo. He clearly looks very poised and an extremely capable person to hold down the position of quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, which is one of the hardest positions to play in pro football. And I'm not trying to say that it's other positions are less valuable, but you got to keep in mind that considering the value of the Dallas Cowboys, him coming out of nowhere and fulfilling such a very glamorous position, and even if as a Cowboys fan, I'm not trying to make it seem like it's all that. I still think it's just the quarterback position, but because of the brand that he's representing, he has a lot of pressure on him, and he fit that role quite well. And considering the fact that he had the season he did as a rookie, I'm expecting nothing but improvement from Dak Prescott. Now, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, but I'm not sure when we're going to do another podcast, but you guys will probably see it later in the week or sometime later in the future. So that being said, I'll catch you guys later.